You see the shot from the Ahsoka trailer, this trio of ships? I didn't really talk about it much during my trailer breakdown, but the more I've looked at it, the more I've found some really interesting things here. We'll talk about all of that and do a catch-up of Star Wars Celebration in today's video. Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. Today was day 2 of Star Wars Celebration and we got some big reveals, some just really interesting news as well. But what I want to talk about before we get into that, if we have time, is the Ahsoka trailer. As I alluded to in the introduction, there's this one scene in the trailer that shows a trio of what I'm assuming are New Republic ships. At first glance, I actually thought, especially given the subject matter, that these could be the Tailender shuttles that we saw in Star Wars Rebels. They often served within Phoenix Cell fleets, but I mean, in hindsight, that's a really dumb take, because besides from some basic geometric similarities, they're clearly not the same ship. The one in this scene is maybe an order of magnitude larger than the 43.5 meter shuttle. There's actually other shots showing the ship, including this one where a vessel is docking in one of the hangar bays, and you get a really good idea of the size. I was also, I think, incorrect to assume that this wasn't a warship, and through further investigation, really taking a good look at the vessel, it seems pretty clear that this is actually based on concept art for Mon Calamari cruisers designed for Return of the Jedi. Now, you may have seen this art before, and if you're a big ship nerd, you might recognize it as being very similar to the MC-30C frigate. And yeah, the MC-30C was based on this concept art as well, and I think if you look at these ships head on, you can definitely see some similarities, especially to the original concept art. There's the almost sloping overbite at the front of the ship. The ship is mostly a smooth, tapered hull, but along the spine there are communication towers, a bridge probably, and more. As with most Mon Calamari cruisers and even the concept art, there are also hangars running down the side of the ship, and it does appear as well that there's a larger fore section, then near the end some sort of tail. Now, not everything is the exact same. This ship is a little less spindly than the concept art. There's also a Star Destroyer Oreo trench running across it, but it's, I think, meant to be the same vessel. And this is important for a number of reasons. This is perhaps a trio of warships. Now, I can't say that with certainty. It is, however, certainly New Republic vessels. If you watch the Disney Plus version of the Ahsoka trailer, you can go into audio description, change it to described audio, and the vessels are named Rebel transports. Now, that's not definitive, and it could still mean that the MC-30C or general Mon Calamari art is being used, perhaps mixed with like the Gallifrey look. But I do think the notion that these are Mon Calamari ships, I'll even call it based on Star Wars terms, a Mon Calamari frigate, is backed up by the scene where we see Shin attacking the bridge and the officer is sitting at what looks very much to be a Mon Calamari control station, as we saw in Return of the Jedi. Why is this important? Well, for two reasons. One, if these are just helpless transports that Thrawn raids, which would be a very Thrawn-like thing to do, or at least for Shin to do at his command, then we start to see a downside to the New Republic not covering their ass. However, if these are warships like I think they are, it's more of a hint that the New Republic's disarmament wasn't total, and that's probably going to be necessary if they're going to hope to fight an actual campaign against Grand Admiral Thrawn. You can't have the Mandalorian and the Ghost take care of everything just like that. There's going to need to be a fleet, there's going to need to be large battles. You know, if this is 3 well-armed Mon Calamari frigates, that's a decent amount of firepower. Not a fleet's worth, but you know, just to be flying around in space, not bad. Also, if these are Mon Calamari frigates, which again, my prediction, we've started to see an interesting shift, and this is the exact same thing that happened in Legends. During the Galactic Civil War, Mon Calamari vessels were pretty unique individually and were designed for the Mon Calamari. In Legends, they were originally luxury vessels, and canon, they're mercantile ships, but they were made specifically for the Mon Calamari species, and they're usually described as organic, bulbous, etc. This ship, not quite the same. And I mean, that makes sense. The Mon Calamari did warships extremely well. So the Mon Calamari shipyards, and this is Legends information, but probably true for canon as well, got a really big chunk of the New Republic shipbuilding contracts. However, when building at scale, the Mon Calamari decided to forego the organic starship style design, and obviously the designs meant to accommodate solely Mon Calamari android physiologies and started making more standardized ships, which I think this vessel, the MC-30C, if that's what it is, would be a perfect example of. But those are my thoughts. When it comes to ships though, I've also been thinking more about that end section where it's revealed that they're fighting in a ship-breaking yard, and we can see in the background the remnants of a Star Destroyer. We need to talk exactly about what happened to Thrawn's 7th Fleet at the Battle of Lothal, because I've noticed online that a lot of people are confused. Yes, Thrawn gets taken away by the Purrgil, they jump to hyperspace with his Star Destroyer in tow. However, his Star Destroyer is not the only ship present, and in fact, we hear from Gilad Pellaeon himself that the fleet is being destroyed by the rampaging space whales. Now, we don't know what happened afterwards. It's my theory that the fleet largely was swept away as the Purrgil jumped to hyperspace, but I don't think they ended up in quite the same place as Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think he was taken the entire way wherever they were going. They were sort of swept up and just dumped in the middle of space somewhere. That, I think, is probably why Ahsoka is going to the shipbreaking yard, which is taking down old Star Destroyers. And in this scene, as she jumps out of this room, it looks to me like the bridge of an ISD. I think she's trying to look for navigational coordinates, anything that can help her find Grand Admiral Thrawn. I wouldn't be surprised if this was almost a The Force Awakens thing, where they need two parts of a puzzle piece to find out where Thrawn is. One piece is presumably this greater map or whatever that she finds on this desert planet. The other piece may be the trajectory as stored in the logs of the ISD. In other words, she both needs to find a new part of space, then find where exactly she should be looking. I wouldn't be surprised if the season starts off with that, then we see the two new dark side characters introduced, sort of to muck things up before Thrawn is introduced fully. But I haven't seen the show yet, obviously. That is pure, unadulterated speculation, but I think it's based at least on some evidence. Otherwise, for news today, it was announced that we will be getting a season 2 of Tales of the Jedi. We don't know much information, however. The really big news is that Lars Mikkelsen will be Thrawn. I'm not going to put the picture that was leaked of him on this channel, not because I'm worried about spoilers, they showed it openly, but because they may take it down as, although openly, only openly behind closed doors. However, if you want to see it, it's on the X Clips channel. I'll actually link to that video in the upper right corner. That's all I got though for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you soon.